Mr. Natraj sir, please address the gathering.
Okay, thank you, Professor Nandesh. I'm extremely happy to be a part of today's program. Very good morning, all of you. So let me have the pleasure of welcoming the great speaker of the today's program, Engineer Yogesh Sharma. And I'm very happy to know that today he is presenting his technical talk in the area of crime prediction and analysis using geospatial technology. So one of the interesting subject what people are talking of today. And also I heard that a lot of research work is going on in this particular area. And indeed it is a very apt topic by an apt person having lot of industrial exposure who is making a good deliberation in the platform under MSRIT. So let me have the pleasure of extending my welcome to the speaker today, Yogesh Sharma. Of course, I have the pleasant duty of introducing the Department of Civil Engineering under the umbrella of MSRIT, MS Ramaiah Engineering College. And I'm extremely happy to tell that MS Ramaiah Engineering College really doesn't need any introduction. In fact, it is one of the reputed organizations at the national and also at the international level. And if you take MSRIT, it's one of the recognized institution at the global level. And it has got all sorts of national and international rankings. And currently, MSRIT is accredited by NAC with A+. So that is indeed a good credentials for all of us. And also, as far as the NIRF ranking is concerned, so it is holding the 59th position at present and being the #1 engineering college under the umbrella of Vishveshwaraya Technological University. And we all should be proud for that. So the Department of Civil Engineering, as everyone knows, it is a 50-year-old institution in India. And of course, we also have one of the reputed postgraduate program, and which is 35 years old in the area of structural engineering. And the undergraduate program and as well as the postgraduate program of MSRIT under civil engineering has been accredited by the National Board of Accreditation successfully for the 4th time. And very recently, the department has been accredited for 3 years period. So this is indeed a big credential as far as the Department of Civil Engineering is concerned. And of course, since 40 years, like any other premier institutions, so our civil engineering department is giving a lot of importance, especially for the research, industrial related activities. And of course, many of the outreach activities, what many professional bodies are looking for at present. And around 200 to 250 technical papers in an average is being published by the faculties of the Department of Civil Engineering every year. And that is really a good credential for all of us. And of course, as I mentioned, we are really doing many of the professional activities as expected by the National Board of Accreditation or even the NAC. So any professional body you take, of course, we are doing lot of programs for the benefit of students, for the benefit of our own faculty, and of course, for the benefit of all the stakeholders of our country. So I'm extremely happy to be a part of this particular organization, and I'm really not going to take much time, but I'm sure with today's deliberation on one of the important outstanding topic, I'm very sure that all our faculty members, especially the people who are doing the research in this particular area, will be able to explore a lot in these deliberations. I'm sure that this interaction also helps many of my students and all the stakeholders so are really doing some research in this particular area. So I'm sure that with this association with Engineer Yogesh Sharma, I'm sure that the department will be able to take many such programs in future, not only for the development of the institution, and in fact for the development of the entire professional bodies. So with this, I thank the department once again, and especially to our Professor Nizar for having identified this particular talk, and also the expert who has international reputation. I'm sure he'll be able to establish many more such professional contacts because of these types of programs. So thank you everyone, and have a good webinar today, and hope for the best.
Thank you for your kind words and the blessings, sir. Now I would like to invite Shilpa DN, Faculty of Civil Engineering, MSRIT, to introduce the guest speaker for the day.
Warm greetings to one and all present here. It is my honor to introduce Mr. Yogesh Sharma. Mr. Sharma is currently working as a project manager, senior solution architect in CODRO Technologies, Hyderabad. He holds MCA and MSc degree in applied mathematics from Government Engineering College, Jabalpur. Some of his areas of interest includes GIS implementation for large-scale enterprise solutions for various domains like land management, safety, security, and process automation using geospatial tools. Mr. Sharma has over 15 years of experience in geospatial solution architecture, development, and implementation in many domains such as utility infrastructure management, water transmission systems, urban development, and resource optimization at enterprise level, SDI implementation, 3D modeling, smart city implementation, and etc. He has also worked with MapMyIndia, Rolta, Wipro, Cognizant, Space Imaging Middle East, and Dubai Municipality. Mr. Sharma has also been awarded by Dubai Municipality for development of 3D model designed for borehole data. Now, I would like to remind all the participants to not disturb by the speaker at the end of the session. Now, I would kindly request Mr. Sharma to start the lecture.
Okay, thank you, madam. And
Thank you,
thank you,
sir.
everyone. So first of all, I'm very thankful to Ramaya Center of Technology and Department of Civil Engineering who provide me the opportunity to take a webinar session on a very, very important topic, crime prediction and analysis using geospatial technologies. And along with that, I am especially thankful to Dr. Nisar who identified me for this very, very important topic. And Dr. Nisar, as you guys already know, he has very good experience in the geospatial, all kind of solutions, and he has ample of experience in many well-known organization. He implemented so many GIS things, and after that he come back to India, and now he is trying to implement those things in our country. So especially thank to Dr. Nisar. So now I am going to start our presentation and without wasting others' time. So as you guys already know, the topic of our presentation is what? The topic of our presentation is the crime prediction and analysis using geospatial technology. So in that case, first of all, I just want to give the small introduction about the outline, what we are going to cover in our today's session. So like first one is the first one, I just want to provide my brief introduction, what I am and what I have completed and what exactly I am right now I am doing. Because based on that, you can get understand, okay, the person who is going to talk about the topic, who exactly he has. After that, we will come to the GIS topic. What is the GIS? Then after, what is the use of the GIS? After that, we will directly come to the factor of the crime analysis, crime mappings, dynamic dashboards, crime analysis model, high level architecture design, spatial data model for crime prediction, algorithm, what basically we are using for the crime prediction. And then after, I will show you some of the result, what we received or what we got after implementation of our crime analysis and prediction. So in continuation to that, like what about myself, basically myself, as the guys already explained, myself Yogesh Sharma. I am working as a project manager or the solution architect in Codo Technologies. And I along with this job, actually I have these many certifications. Like I am CSM, CSPO, Microsoft certified professional, and I have very good certification like FME certification. That FME certification is basically related to the GIS, especially GIS for conversions. So Now what my company Kodu Technology is doing, because we are very famous in the remote sensing, and specifically for the large scale projects, either this is related to the image processing, image analysis, or GIS. So these are the some points what we are doing, or what the work we are doing in the company, like image processing. We are expert in the enterprise GIS solutions and services, project management, then project consultancy, because we are providing, because we have a very good team for the project management. So we are doing project management as well for project consultancy as well. And apart from that, we have very good development team. So that development team is responsible for development for any kind of software. Like here, I already mentioned that custom application development for all the platform. All the platform means we are developing the application for the desktop, web, and mobile. So this is the small introduction about myself. And after that, now I'm coming to the point, what is the GIS? So guys, here I just want to tell you one thing before going to start the actual presentation. If anyone have any doubt, any question, you can raise a hand. Okay, you can raise a hand. Finally, once we reach to the question and answer session, definitely we will take care of your question and we will try to clarify your doubts. So now the today's session, as you guys already know, what is the name of the topic? The name of the topic is the crime prediction and analysis using the geospatial technology. So basically, before going to deep about the crime prediction, crime analysis, first, because the starting point is what? The starting point is everything is start from the technology geospatial. So we have to understand basically what is the geospatial, what is the GIS. So in continuation to that, basically like what is the GIS? So here, what we can say, the GIS is basically what in this time, whenever you say what is the meaning of the GIS, so GIS is basically what, this is the modern answer of the where. Why I am saying, because I have so many definitions. I have so many definition. If you just try to find what is the GIS in the Google, you will get 100 of definitions. But actually, I am not going to deep or going to that definitions. The simple and short, what is the GIS? This is basically the modern answer of where. Everyone who has the smartphone, and as you guys already know, how many people are using a smartphone in India. And now these days, due to COVID, if the people are not means willing to a smartphone, in spite of that, he has to use the smartphone, because all the schools, all the students, everything is going on online mode only. So like whenever we are using the smartphone, so automatically what will happen, directly or indirectly, you are using the GIS. Now this time, whenever you started using the smartphone, you are using the Uber, you are using the Ola, you are using the Zomato, Swiggy. So all these applications are what? All these applications are somewhere they are using the power of the GIS. Somewhere they are using the power of the GIS. Like before 20 year or before 30 year, if I called you and if I ask you what is your address, I want to come to the Bangalore, what is your address? So that time people was telling, okay, I am staying in this particular location, this is the address, I am staying in the Murges Palia. Yeah, once you reach to the Murges Palia, take a right turn, after that second street, take a left turn, like that. So previously, whenever we describe the address, we are describing in the textual form. But now you guys already know, now the situation and the time changed. So this change is basically what? Now if you tell me what is your address, I will directly go to the Google and find out my location, and I share that point to you. After that, no need to tell you where and what is the location of my home or what is the location of my apartment. Automatically, once you click on the link, you will get the exact location, and immediately you can start the driving, set the location, and automatically Google Map will drop you on my apartment. So this is the what? This is the power of the GIS. This is what I explained you. This is a one and initial level of use of the GIS. Now the people are using the actual power of the GIS. most of the analysis, most of the prediction, most of the planning, we are doing basically using what? Using the power of the GIS. So now, like, what is the use of the GIS? Basically, why we should use the GIS? Okay, you are saying that GIS is this, GIS is that, GIS we can get the actual address, we can get the location. But now the thing is, why each and every department, if you talk about the police, if you talk about the insurance, if you talk about the any utility department, maybe the drainage, sewerage, irrigation, water network, talk about the transportation, maybe the metro station, maybe the metro network, railway network, bus route, each and every department, each and every department is using the power of the GIS. So basically, why they are using the GIS? Because based on the geospatial data, you can see, you can see the data in front of you on the map. So based on that, automatically you can take any decision. If I provide you the data in the textual form, so maybe you cannot interpret actual things. But whenever I will show you the data on the map, so automatically you can understand, okay, yes, this is the way how we can control this thing, how we can do this thing. So basically, the other form or the other name of the GIS is what? The other name of the GIS is the decision support system. This is the very, very good tool. This is the very, very good technology which help us to take any kind of decision. Means if you tell me a single department, if you tell me a single department where we cannot use the GIS, so I cannot agree on that, because based on my 14-year 15-year of experience, I know if you go to any department, if you talk about any department, we can prove you as a GIS specialist, we can prove you where and how you can use the power of the GIS to take a decision in that particular department. And this is not only theory. This is not only theory. If you check any department, maybe the land-based management department, maybe any municipal corporation, maybe any railway network, bus network, everywhere people are trying to incorporate what? Everywhere people are trying to incorporate the GIS. So either this is the infrastructure department, either that is related to the security, safety, infrastructure, land-based management, property tax, everywhere we can use the power of the GIS, and it will help us to take any decision. Now here I just summarize what are the fields we have where basically we are using the GIS, because this what I'm trying to show you, this is very, very less number of count. We can use GIS more than these fields, but because I don't have that much place to put everything, but I just take the small things, like we can use GIS in where? We can use GIS in marketing. If someone is related to the marketing, sales, those people knows about how the upper management, how the decision makers are using the geospatial in the marketing. You can easily track everything. You can easily track where and what place, what are the potential places where we can put your order, where you can get the order. And after that, based on that, you can easily get, based on that, you can easily get the decision. Okay, these are the place where we required so many, where we have so many requirements, so we can make a plan accordingly. After that, customer profiling. You can easily profile, or you can easily create the customer profiling using the geospatial. So after that, you will, once you get everything on the map, after that it is very, very easy to take any decision. Next is the trade area analysis. After that, we have risk analysis. This is very, very important domain, risk analysis. How and where we can use the GIS for the risk analysis. Like you guys already know, there are in India, most of the places in the rainy season we are getting the flood. So for the flood, the central government are doing so many work, and these all work is related to what? These all works are related to the geospatial only. How the geospatial will help us to take to get this risk analysis? We have data. We have the satellite data in 2D format. We have that satellite data in the 3D format. So based on the 3D format, once I will provide you data in the 3D format, you already have how the Z values are there. Based on that, you can easily understand if heavy rain will come, where the water will accommodate. So basically, based on that, you can easily make a plan. Okay, this is the low line area. So whenever the heavy rain will come, this area will first the water will come in that particular area. So based on that, we can make a plan. But these things we cannot do. These things we cannot do without using the GIS data. So this is the one place for the risk analysis. There are many more places we have where we can put the GIS as a decision support system, and it will help us to take the risk analysis. After that, this is the very common domain, like land department. The land department, now the central government is implementing the project in all the states, all the cities. Now everything is going to change in the digital format. If you want to pay the property tax, the each and every property tax, everything will come from the GIS department or the GIS domain. Why? Because now they have planned to map each and every houses, each and every apartment, everything on the map. So based on the area, it will automatically calculate the property tax. It will automatically calculate, it will send the property tax detail to the people, and people will pay things to the online. If someone want to get the detail of the tax, directly go to the portal. You have a map, you can easily find out your house. Click on that, you will get all the information. After that, transportation. If the people, basically the normal use in India, we are using the GIS in the transportation. But the people who come from abroad, they knows how elegantly the people are using geospatial technology in the transportation. Like if the people who already stay in Dubai, they knows whenever some bus is coming, whenever some train is coming, automatically it will tell you that this bus is 2 minutes far from this particular stop, 1 minute far from this particular stop. The exact location is this one. This is only possible based on the GIS, because as you guys already know, GPS is also the part of the GIS technology. So abroad, out of India, most of the vehicle, everywhere people are using the GPS, and based on the GPS data, based on the GPS signals, they are getting the location, and on the runtime, they are showing you the location. This is the correct location of the train, this is the location of the bus, and everything. After that, we can use the power of GIS in the utilities. This is the very common use of the GIS. And in complete India, one project is already going on that you guys maybe already heard about, RAP-DRP project. This RAP-DRP project is related to what? Related to the electricity. So central government want to map each and every electric customer, each and every electric line, everything on the map. So based on, once you get everything on the map, so you can easily do the planning. Okay, how many assets we have, what are the points we have where we can make our warehouses for the assets, how many customers we have, how many customers are paying, how many customers are not paying. Each and every planning you can do based on this GIS data. And after that, asset management. This is also a very good point where you can put the power of the GIS or geospatial. Asset management in any department, what are the assets you have, that assets you can geotag, that assets you can keep and make the proper plan. So geospatial technology will help us to take any decision or to make the planning for the asset management. After that, our main topic will come. This is the crime analysis. So because if GIS is involved in all these departments or all these domains like marketing, customer profiling, trade area analysis, risk analysis, so how the crime analysis will lead? So crime analysis or the crime prediction, the crime analysis and crime prediction also now the using power of what? Power of the geospatial. Now in upcoming slides, we are going to explore about how the crime prediction or the crime analysis is using the power of the geospatial. So now in that case, first of all, whenever we are talking about the crime analysis, or whenever we talking about any analysis which are related to the geospatial, so the first and most important thing is what? The first and most important thing is what we require. This is called the geospatial or geo-enabled data. If you have GIS enabled, if you have the geo-enabled data, then only you can do some analysis. Without geo-enabled data, we cannot do any analysis based on the GIS. And now the question is, what is the geo-enabled data? The geo-enabled data is basically what? Geo-enabled data is like if I have a point, for example, one incident happened. Whenever someone launch a complaint, so based on means along with the complaint, I want the location of the incident also. So whenever anyone will launch the complaint, that complaint will launch along with the geospatial data, along with the location. Like in modern countries, like in Dubai, whenever we are talking about the Dubai, Australia, New Zealand, in these countries, all the departments, not only the police, municipal corporation, all the departments, they are using the power of the geospatial. Means, for example, I know about the Dubai. Whenever if you are passing through the road and you got one hole, and you just take the application of the Dubai municipality and just switch on the application, take the photo and send to that particular number. So what will happen whenever you are using the application, whenever you are sending the photo, automatically that photo will upload in the Dubai municipality complaint data along with the location from where you taken the photo. So what will happen? The Dubai municipality people, they automatically download the data. They can see that data on the map, and automatically the engineers or the concerned person, they will go to that particular place and resolve the issue. So this is the power of what? This is the power of the GIS. Same thing, whenever we are coming to the crime analysis or crime. So here also we implemented that solution with so many countries. So those countries are now getting the benefit of the GIS power in place in a domain of what? In domain of the crime prediction or crime analysis. So whenever we are talking about the crime, whenever you are talking about the crime, or whenever means we are talking about the any incident, so there are three most important things what we have to know about the incident. These three questions are what? These three questions are what, where, and when. If you want to do the crime analysis, if we want to do some prediction based on the crime data, so we need these three answers for each and every incident. That questions are what, when, and where. What happened? What it will tell you? It will tell you what time, what type of crime happened. What type of incident happened. So based on that, you can categorize the type of the incident. These are the major type of the incident. After that, in that type, we have some subtypes or subcategories. So based on that, we can create some data. Okay, these are the, whenever some call will come, we can accommodate that particular incident in this particular category. So this is the first thing, what, this is the answer of what. After that, when is required for what purpose? When means whenever someone called to the police control room, whenever someone called to the police control room, and the once the user will tell, okay, this particular incident happened, so we required what? We required the time also. We required the time also, what time that particular incident happened. The reason is, whenever we are coming to the stage of the crime analysis or crime prediction, we have to understand, we have to know what is the particular time when most of the incident is happening, because our application or our algorithm will work based on these three questions: what, where, and when. So when is very important. Like if you think about, okay, most of the crime happen in the night time, most of the crime happen in the evening time, or most of the crime is happening in the morning time. How we can take this decision, or how we can do this analysis? Once you have the data, and that data will tell you, that data will show you, okay, this particular incident happened in this particular time. So this is the significant, or this is the importance of the time for the incident. Now after that, next and most important question is what? Next, what we already know, when we already know. Now the next and most important thing is the where. This is very, very important. Because why I am saying this is very, very important? Because this is directly related to geospatial. Any incident happen, someone called to the police control. So always remember each and every call, what is coming in the dial 100. Each and every call, what is coming in the dial 100, in that particular call, you will get what? You will get the location. You will get the location where exactly this incident happened. Why? Because once you have this kind of data, then only we can do some analysis for anything. But here we are talking about the crime. So once we have these all type of incident data, then only we can think about how we can do the crime analysis, and based on that, how we can predict the next crime. That you also know, me also know, everyone also knows about that. No one can predict the crime. That we already know, no one can predict the crime. How we can predict the crime? But yes, we cannot 100% predict the crime, but based on the current criminal mentality, based on the current crime pattern, based on these range, based on the pattern, we can at least analyze and we can predict, maybe in this particular area, maybe at this particular time. Means time is not the 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, maybe evening time, maybe night time, maybe the morning time, this particular area, next crime may be happen. This kind of prediction we can do using the historical data or using the data of the crime, and put some algorithm, it will produce the result. So like these are the three things what is very, very important for us to do any analysis. So like these three questions is very, very important for the crime analysis: what, where, and when. So whenever we are talking about the when also, so here, as I already told you, we need the data which this particular incident is related to which particular location. Along with that, what type of people, means characteristics of the individuals, like what is the age, sex, area, education, race. All these things will make us, or all these things will help us to take any decision for the crime prediction. And these all are basically what? These all are the factors. These all are the factors which we are going to use to take any decision. Now after that, based on our discussion, now one thing you understood: for each and every crime, if we want to do some crime analysis, if we want to do some crime prediction, so each and every incident has to geotag. Each and every incident has to geotag means right now, for example, in India, I think no state or no district is maintaining the data in this particular form. In Hyderabad, or in Bangalore, some of the means I already discussed with some of the people who is already working in the police control room. So now slowly they have plan, or now slowly they are going to start to work on the geo-enabled data. So basically, once our country is able to do the geo-enabled data or geo-enabled incident storing system, so we are also in the shape we can take the decision based on the geospatial. So like the geotagging is what? In the dynamic geotagging, whenever someone call to the police control room, so each and every call will assemble with the three questions: what, when, and where. So like here, yeah, I just mentioned here the map, we have some locations, and these all locations are what? These all locations are depends upon, or these all location of the incident, like robbery, arson, murder, arson, larceny, burglary. So these all incident happen, and based on the incident call, or based on the complaint, we are maintaining everything in the geotagging form. So each and every data what you have in the database, each and every incident data, you have the details, like same thing, three questions, three answers you will get: what, where, and when. Now after that, this is the things what the modern countries are following. Like whenever you someone if is stuck with some incident or facing some incident, if someone is calling to the police control room, if someone called to the police control room for the incident, so basically what happened, as I already told you, the call will go to the police control room along with what? Along with the location. So after that, once the call will reach to the police control room and complaint will launch, the most important thing is, now even not only in the foreign countries, in India also, we have the police control and command center. In the police control and command center, we have very big screens, and these screens are changing dynamically. So basically, whenever we implement crime analysis and these kind of things in the organization, so what will happen? As soon as you receive the call, as soon as police control room will receive the call, and automatically will update what? Automatically will update dynamically. Means automatically everything in the website, or automatically everything will update dynamically in the police control room. So like you just imagine if you don't have this dashboard, if you don't have this board, you have the legacy system. You get the call, after that someone will take the action, after that we will get the result. This is the legacy system. Now the situation change. For example, you have the police control room have this dynamic dashboard. Based on the call, doesn't matter that call is coming to the area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, doesn't matter, because now everything is in the centralized system. Whenever you get the call, you just call dial 100. Once you launch the complaint, once the incident will launch, automatically this dashboard will update. Once this dashboard will update, each and every figure will update automatically on runtime. So upper management or higher authority can check the data, check the information in the dashboard, and based on that automatically they can take any decision, because this particular information or this particular dashboard will show you the data in the textual form. This dashboard will show you the data in the map form, means automatically Once the incident happen, you will get the incident location on the map. So based on the map, if many incident is happening on the same place, so based on that, the upper management can automatically can take a decision, and they can quickly make a plan. Okay, this is the main focus area. Now we have to send some policeman or some troop or some group of police to that particular area to control that particular part. So this is the power of what? This is the power of the GIS. So runtime, we will get update for each and everything. Based on that, we can create a plan. Now after that, whenever we are talking about the crime analysis means, now first point is done. You are already taking the data from the end user. Whenever someone call to the dial 100, each and every data what we are storing, this is storing with the 3 questions, 3 answers basically: what, where, and when. So once you have the data with all these 3 information, now this is very easy. Now this is very easy for us to do some logic or to put some algorithm, and based on the algorithm, we can find out, or we can take any decision. So now what are the crime analysis models we have? We have intelligence analysis, we have investigative crime analysis, we have administrative crime analysis, strategic crime analysis, and tactical crime analysis. So basically these are the different models what we are using for the crime analysis. Sometime what happened, sometimes some of the analysis we are doing for the short term pattern. Like in Mumbai, what happened in Mumbai at the time of the Ganpati Visarjan? At the time of the Ganpati Visarjan, so there are for the very short span of time, there are many people are coming in that particular place. So that time police control room, they want to make a plan. They want to make a plan for a small time, but short duration, and they already know what are the places where the problem may be happen. Why? Because the reason is, in the Ganpati Visarjan, everyone trying to reach to the Juhu beach, everyone trying to reach to some beaches. So they accordingly, the police control room or the upper management, they can make a plan. Okay, these are the things. Accordingly, we can make a plan. We can put some drones, and each and everything controlled by whom? Controlled by the control room. So drone is already running here and there, and after that, what will happen? No policeman is required for particular place. Everyone just sit in the control room, and the best part is if you are putting 50 number of policemen, 100 number of policemen, you cannot control, you cannot watch the entire area. But in spite of that, in spite of putting the 100 policemen, if you put the 2 drones or 3 drones or 4 drones, so maybe what I know, you can watch each and every, means you can watch each and every square meter area. So this is what, and that drones and everything you can control from the control room, and everything is basically connected with what? Everything is connected with the geospatial technology. So there are many different kind of analysis model we have, and that is depends upon what type of analysis, and the duration of the analysis, type of the analysis, and type of the model. So based on that, we can use these model like intelligence analysis model, investigative crime analysis, administrative crime analysis, strategic crime analysis, and tactical crime analysis. Now after that, this is the high level architecture design. This is the high level architecture design what we are using to do any crime analysis or crime prediction. So basically the architecture design will be what? The architecture design will be, first of all, we need the data, because if we are going to do any analysis related to the geospatial, so always remember one thing, geospatial, like I already told you, Geospatial is what? Geospatial or GIS is the decision support system. Along with that, you can say one more thing with the GIS. GIS is basically what? GIS is basically data of data. GIS is basically what? Data of data, means whatever the data you have, based on that, you can implement some very good algorithm, you can create a good models, and based on that you can take any decision. So for any to take any decision for implementation of the GIS or geospatial in any domain, we require data. Without data we cannot do anything. So here, this is the high level architecture diagram for any GIS based or geospatial based crime analysis or crime prediction. So first of all, in the first the left side, I just want to, one second. Okay, so the left side, what I am showing you here, the information sources, basically these four parts: information sources, information collection, survey of physical evidence crime, document evidence based on the crime. These all are related to what? These all are related to the data, incident data. Maybe the dial 100 also coming in this particular part. So whenever people dial 100 for any incident, these all data will come here. So once you are getting the data, maybe dial 100 data is in different form, maybe the police different police station, they are maintaining the data in different form. Once you collect all the data, and that data you are transferring in the centralized repository. So that centralized repository is what? That centralized repository is the DBMS, database management system. So whatever the data you are collecting, means whatever the data my system is collecting, that data may be coming from the dial 100, that data may be coming from the individual police station, that data may be coming from the mobile team, that data is coming from the police patrolling team. So all the data is coming to the centralized repository or centralized format. That format we are maintaining where? That format we are maintaining in the DBMS. After that, once all the data will come to the universal format, after that we have the web server. We have the web server where we are doing some internal design and internal process. Then after, as you guys already know, now this time, the current time is the machine learning and artificial intelligence. So previously, before coming to machine learning and artificial intelligence, previously people were creating the interpolation. They are trying to find out the value. They are trying to find out the data based on some known values. Basically, this is the definition of what? This is the definition of the interpolation. What is basically interpolation? Interpolation is I want to find out the value of some unknown point with the use of some known points. That is called the interpolation. So before coming to the machine learning and artificial intelligence, we were using the interpolation techniques, and that techniques was basically, this was the part of the legacy system. So it is that techniques was not considering all the factors like time, area, and what I already told you, means what is the age, race, education. These all factors, time, we cannot incorporate in the interpolation. So but now the time change. Now people are using what? Now people are coming to the machine learning and artificial intelligence, because machine learning and artificial intelligence will have so many algorithm. That algorithm we can implement in our data, and based on that it will provide you the proper predicted values. And that predicted value we already seen. we already seen that predicted value is almost 30%, 40% cases. This is correct. So if in the crime prediction, if we are talking about the crime prediction, and if your result means whatever the result we are getting from our crime prediction, if in my result I got 25% or 30% success, so the 30% success is more than enough. We are not expecting 80% success, but in the crime prediction, if we got 25% to 30% success, it means that is a very good success rate for the crime prediction. So now here, like in the GIS window, I mentioned here K-mean algorithm and forecasting model. So basically, these are the two machine learning algorithm that in the next slide, I will show you some more models, some more algorithm, what we are using for the crime prediction. So like here, I mentioned here only two methods or two models, K-mean algorithm and forecastic models. And once the data, all the centralized data, what we have in the DBMS, once this data will come to this particular part, GIS, here we implemented our algorithm, and based on the algorithm, we means in that algorithm, this is the data what we are getting from the DBMS, and along with that, we have some monthly crime data. So all the data come together in this part, and here we will implement the algorithm, and based on the algorithm, we can find out what? We can find out the outputs. So once you implement this one, so what kind of output we can get? We can get this kind of output. So this output, it will show you what are the areas, what are the possible areas where the crime may be happen. So the red color zone or the red color area is basically, it is depict us, or it will show us that these are the majorly crime prone zones. So we have to think, or we have to plan accordingly. After that, this is the spatial data model for the crime prediction. So basically in this slide, basically I just want to show you how the things are interrelated and how the things we are using in the spatial data model for the crime prediction. We have the historical data, we have the location data, local data or location data. So this historical data, and this will come to the cleaning layer. Once it will reach to the cleaning layer, so data will be clean, and then after it will come to the transformation layer. Once it will come to the transformation layer, means once the transformation is done, it will come to the storage layer, and this layer is basically what? This layer we are storing the data. And the right side we have the evaluation layer. This evaluation layer also, it is getting the data, and it will give the data in the storage layer. Once everything is come to the storage, after that we will select the data. Select the data means what? We want to do some analysis. We want to do, like for example, in our case, we want to do the crime prediction based on some selected data, based on some selected area. So basically this portion, we are feature selection layer is there. Then after, because we are going to implement what? We are going to implement machine learning and artificial intelligence. So as you guys already heard about, whenever we are talking about the machine learning is basically what? First we have to train the data. Train the data means first we have to train our system, train our algorithm. Whatever the algorithm or whatever the functionality we are going to implement for the machine learning, so we have to train. Once you trained, after that it will work according to your requirement or according to your algorithm. So the next one is what? Training the data. Once the training the data is done, after that this is a learning layer. Once the learning layer is done, then after it will provide the result, and that result we will get in where? That result we will get in the prediction layer. Now after that, these are the major algorithm. These are the major algorithm what we are using for our crime prediction. Doesn't matter where or which city or which state we are going to implement the crime prediction or crime analysis, but these are the major models, or these are the major algorithm for the these all the algorithm is related to the machine learning. So like deep neural network tuning, this particular algorithm is very important and very good algorithm, because this algorithm will work with the classify the data, and it will predict the data, and it will give you the prediction result in very quickly. So the second one is what? Second one is the rainforest. Then after we have baseline algorithm. After that we have support vector machine. Then finally we have the k nearest neighborhood. And these, as I told you, these all, like for example, k nearest neighborhood. This algorithm, this is for the machine learning. K nearest neighborhood is one of the simplest machine learning algorithm based on the supervised learning. So like this one, after that here some of the time people are confused about what is the meaning of the k. So basically in the k nearest neighborhood algorithm, k is the number. It will use, we are using the k for the factors. Means what are the major factor we are going to consider for the supervised classification. So this is the number of the factor what we are using in the k. Then after that we have, I just want to show you the result, or like here we have one algorithm, support vector machine. The support vector machine are the supervised learning model which associated learning algorithm that analyze data of the classification and regressive analysis. This is also a most robust prediction method. So basically what I am just trying to explain you, these are the very famous 5 algorithm we have. That algorithm we are implementing to take predicted value with the use of some known values with different factors. So we already implemented these algorithm with some different clients. So here this is the result. This is the result what we are getting. For example, measures type, baseline, DNN tuning, KNN5, rainforest, support vector machine. And based on that, you can easily see here what is the result we are getting. So specifically for the crime prediction, based on the historical and the local data, the DNN tuning means deep neutral network. This is basically the most significant or most useful algorithm what we are using with the crime data, and after that we will get the proper result. Then after this is the these are the slides, because these all slides, whenever we will implement the crime prediction or crime analysis based on the geospatial, so what are the things you will get? These are the major results. This is not the complete, because whenever I am trying to explain you the complete result of the crime analysis or prediction based on the different algorithm, so maybe the slide will cross 500. But here I just want to show you the small things, like if we implement the crime prediction and analysis using the geospatial technology, and how and what kind of result you are getting. So like this is the first result what we are getting. Based on the police station, how many police station we have, what are the population we have, what are the population density we have, based on that what are the road network we have. Then based on that we can easily plan the patrolling area planning. Means how we can plan the patrolling, how the policeman or how the police team will do the patrolling. To do the patrolling, we can use our crime analysis using the geospatial technology, because here you have the distance Here you have all the road network. Here you have all the constraint. So based on that, we can easily plan for the patrolling team. After that, this is the second result. In this result, you can easily plan what are the police accessibility planning. Means what are the areas we have where our police team can reach easily. So here you can see what are the red color zone. Here we are trying to show in the red color zone, police will reach in a little bit late. It will take time to reach on that particular area. But these are the things. If you don't have geospatial technology, you cannot visualize. We cannot visualize the things without geospatial technology. So using this, we can do the police accessibility planning. After that, based on the data, we can easily find closest facility from the crime. Then after, what are the crime rate per 100 people? That also we can show. What is the crime rate for the per 100 people? Then after, crime with the proportional symbols, means the area of the crime, number of the crime. Based on that, we can show the different circles and different sizes. This is basically proportionate to the crime, type of the crime, count of the crime. Then after, based on the community, means like, see, you can easily understand if you have the data in the centralized repository with GeoEnable. If we have the data in the centralized repository with GeoEnable, so what are the things, what kind of analysis, how many type of analysis we can do? So like here, you can show the crime by community and crime type. In which community, which kind of crime is happening? In which community, which kind of crime we have the historical information, historical data. So based on that, we can easily do the planning. After that, easily you can find out top 5 communities by the crime incident. So this is very helpful for your planning. Then after, crime by the season. In what season, what are the significant or what are the count of the crime?
Sharma sir, we are able to hear you. There is some problem with the audio.
Now am I audible?
No, there was a break actually. We could not hear your voice.
Give me one moment.
Sure, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So
So
once
if you could come back to the previous slide, I think people were not able to hear that properly.
okay, 1 second, no problem. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for confirmation.
Yes.
So now the thing is, the overall concept is, once we have the geo-enabled data in the centralized repository, so how many type of analysis, how many type of prediction we can do? So now if I show you this particular data, if I show you this particular map, not only the skilled person, any layman also, if see the map, so he can easily understand what is the status of the crime in the city, where we have the crime, what type crime we have in particular city, and how we can do this thing. So based on this statistics, based on the geographical distribution of the crime, we can easily find out and we can easily do the planning. So now after that, like crime by community and crime type, what are the communities we have, and based on the community, what kind of crime is happening. So we have this kind of data also. So accordingly, we can plan for the community and the crime type. Then after, we can generate the report for the how many top 5 communities by the crime incident. Then after, if we have all the data, we can generate the proper analysis for the crime by the season. In what season we are getting the number of crimes. Accordingly, also we can plan crime by time of day, night time, daytime, morning time, afternoon time, what time we have the crime frequency more, we can plan accordingly. So the overall thing is, once we have the data in the centralized repository, and once we have the data with the what, where, and when, so whatever the things we want, we can do the crime analysis, we can do the crime prediction using the algorithm what I already shown you. So we can use those algorithms, we can predict the crime, and like here, the crime by time of date. So this is the final output. This is the final output means we cannot say the final output. This is the one of the most useful output, like what the algorithm we are implementing, and based on that algorithm, this is the predicted crime, or this is the predicted crime area. So based on that, we can do the planning for the future. Okay, this is the most danger, or this is the most a hot area where we have to put most of the effort, and we can plan accordingly. Okay, this is the area where we have the police station, where the police this is the approachable area or not. So accordingly, we can plan and we can take some decision. So this is all about the session, and now we are coming to the question and answer session. So if anyone have any doubt, you feel free to ask.
Participants who have any doubt can please raise a hand so that we'll get a chance to ask the questions. Yes, Mallikarjun sir, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. It was very informative session. The question is like, suppose all these database will be developed, but now in currently in India, I do, because you are actually giving the reference of Dubai. Definitely, Dubai is the fast growing city, the country in the world. But in India now, the smart cities, the new governments are having the plan to build the new planned cities and all. So the smart cities, they are saying. So this will be built from the day one, like this will be adopted in that way. The technology will go to that level. How do you talk about this thing in the smart cities? What they are saying, will it be really a great thing that they will be doing this one from the day one? How is this played there?
Actually, whenever we are talking about the smart city, it means it refer to the smart utility, smart citizen, smart security, smart safety, everything. So in context to that, if we are talking like one more thing is the part of the smart city, like smart navigation. Smart navigation means like in Bangalore and Hyderabad, we have a very big squares are there. In that squares, we have red lights. Now the policeman who stand there in this square, he is basically switch on and switch off the light manually. But these thing also should be the smart, based on the vehicle count, based on the vehicle density. These lights will also switch on and switch off automatically, that like this thing happening in the other countries. And now I'm coming to your question. So whenever we are talking about definitely the smart security is also the part of the smart city. So whenever we are implementing the planning of the smart city, so from very first day, if we are going to implement this thing, we have to plan, we have to incorporate this geo-enabled calls or geo-enabled services in our dial 100. Because as we already know, whatever the incident happen, every incident will come to the dial 100 only. And now the central government is putting too much effort to implement the dial 100 in very, very good manner. So once we implemented this thing with the dial 100, so currently the current data, everything will come in the geo-enable, and what are the historical data we have? Whatever the historical data we have, that data also we have to convert to the centralized repository. Maybe that data we cannot convert 100% accurate, but yes, at least we have to convert these all data with some 60%, 70% accuracy. So the benefit will be, because as I told you, the geospatial is what? Data about the data. So whatever the historical and now data we have, so we can predict the crime and we can analyze the crime based on the particular data what we have in the centralized repository. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Balasubramaniam, sir, you can ask. Sir.
So, can I get your mail ID? I'll share my doubts there. So.
Sure, that you can get from the organizer is not an issue. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and can you share the slides also, PPT also?
That video maybe the organizer will share that. I don't know what is the plan for that, but they will acknowledge you. Don't worry.
Yes, sir. We will send the video link, sir, then later on.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
So there is a question in the chat box.
Nandesh, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, indeed, it is a very good presentation, and many of the participants are requesting for the PPT and other materials. But I would like to inform to the participant that professionally, the PPT very difficult to share. But what I request the speaker, probably some of the important points, what he has put it in the slide. Maybe if he has a small copy of that in the form of a small write-up, that can be shared to Professor Nizar, and Professor Nizar in turn can share it to the participant if it is required. But professionally, asking for a PPT presentation to be shared is unethical, and definitely as an HOD, I am not going to recommend. But whatever the material that can be shared, so I request the speaker to share it across if it is really not a copyright material. So that is the first thing. So one small question to Engineer Yogesh Sharma, sir.
Yeah.
Indeed, it is a nice presentation, but I would like to know, in the police department, is there any such commercial software other than the software based on the GIS, where some sort of a spread, because it is all about collection of the data, analysis of the data, interpretation of the data, probably at what time or what instant of time with some accuracy. So you'll be able to predict the crime so that the police department can be more cautious, or even the people can be more cautious. Is there any software in the form of a Excel database? Because it is basically analysis of the data. And what type of data these police department people are really having and looking in this direction of crime analysis?
Okay. So first of all, if we are talking about the application, so there are some related to the GIS application, we have ESRI company. They already have the application. That application we can use. And if as I already work with the different countries related to this particular project, so they are using one software, COSPOL.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, COSPOL software is the very famous software, and that software is specifically they designed for the police.
Okay.
And our company also designed a similar kind of software. That software we implemented in some countries, And the next and very important thing, what you just tell me, like data. Basically, whenever we are talking about the data, so like dial 100, you just imagine, or everyone can just imagine ki if I tell you how many data will insert or how many data will come to the system every day. Because the analysis what we are going to do, that analysis is not only for one area, not only for one city. Whenever we are seeing this thing in the global level, whenever we are seeing this, the global level means the big area. So every day the data what it is coming to the system, this is I think more than 20,000, 30,000.
Yeah.
So in that case, the normal database cannot help us. The
Okay.
normal
Excellent.
database, yes, we have to use the big data.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
have
yeah.
to use the big data concept to achieve the target.
So it is a field of too much of data to be handled. Business analytics concept need to be implemented, I believe.
Correct. Big
Yeah.
data playing the biggest role to implement this kind of huge data analysis. The normal database like SQL Server, Oracle, these database is not able to handle this kind of analysis or this scale of the data.
Thank you, sir. Over to Nandesh.
Sharma sir, there is one more person, Vishal. Please ask your question.
Yeah, please.
Vishal.
Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, like as you told that the repository thing you told us, sir, now the National Crime Records Bureau do have that kind of repository, and they can be, it can be they like using their data. We can kind of make use of these geospatial services, no, sir.
Actually, the national crime, the database, what they are maintaining, this is the isolated data. Okay, what we are talking, whenever we are talking about the smart city. Okay, smart city means, as I told you, smart city means what? Like if I have problem now for the water, if I have problem now for the street light, immediately once the bulb will fuse, you will get the notification. That is called the smart city planning. Correct? That is called the smart
Yes, sir,
city
yes.
planning. By now, previously what happened, if the street light is not working for next 15 days, 20 days, it was not working. After that, the department will come and change everything. But whenever we are talking about the smart city, means immediately when my street light is not working, department will get the notification. This particular street light is not working. So like whenever we are talking about the national crime data or national crime repository, so they don't have the runtime, they don't have the live records. They are maintaining the records with the legacy system. Means like whatever the crime happened in Hyderabad for 1 month. Once everything is done, after 1 month, they will send the report to that particular department. They will maintain the data. So basically, those people are just maintaining the data. That data, we cannot rely on that. Okay, so we need the real-time data. So real-time data, once the data will come the real time, we can do analysis and we can show the result.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mallikarjun sir has one more question.
Sir, sorry, another question, if you don't mind. Along with the GIS, is there any other tools and softwares will be tagged? Will be used with this to do all these database building and all, or GIS has got the whole sort of things, tools in it?
Actually, whenever we are talking about only GIS, whenever we are talking about GIS, so it will tell you about only GIS softwares. But whenever we are talking about the enterprise GIS means all the database, all the infrastructure related thing, everything will be the part of the enterprise GIS. Means like whenever we are talking about the enterprise GIS, means big data, Oracle, SQL Server, Microsoft, everyone will come under one umbrella. That is the enterprise GIS.
Good, thank you.
So there are two questions in the chat box, which
Yes,
basically are asking, how does a beginner get into this field, and what are the tool sets and skills required for him to progress in this field?
Nice question. But first of all, I appreciate you, at least you are thinking to come in this field. So if you want to come to this field, first of all, you have to start from the basic uses of the GIS. Like as I already explained, in India or in any people in the world, doesn't matter you knows GIS or not. Like the people who is asking the question, first of all, I will tell you, either you know or doesn't know, you already using the GIS. Okay, so you knows the GIS, because I know every weekend you are trying to find some pizza and burger in the Zomato or Swiggy, so automatically you are using the GIS. Don't worry. The only thing is you have to know about the definition, you have to know about the other component of the GIS, that you can find out. There are many books are there. If you really want to explore this thing, just send message to the organizer. I will provide the book. That book I written on the GIS and remote sensing. So I will provide this book. You can go through this particular book, and related to the software, you can go with the QGIS. QGIS is the very good open source software. So whenever you want, you can directly download this QGIS software from the Google, and you can install, and this is ready to use software. No license, nothing required for that.
Mallikarjun sir, do you have any other question?
Actually, no, the session was very interesting. Sorry, I could not lower it. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
No,
okay.
it's very
Okay, thank
useful
you.
thing. Even my question is answered now. Yeah, just now, what primary prerequisite servers now? This is a booming technology. Really, it will be the future thing. So we people wants to come into this line, and definitely, sir has answered. Very nice. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is one person, M. Vasavi. She says K algorithm has some drawback. Can you suggest some other algorithm? Can you comment
If
on
you, first of all, we have to go with the DNN algorithm. Okay, deep neural network. Because if whenever we are talking about any prediction, whenever we want to find out some predicted values, so in that case, DNN algorithm is very, very good. And this algorithm produce the very, very good result as well. So if you want to implement any algorithm, first you try with the DNN. Definitely it will give you good results. Sir, you are on mute, sir.
Yeah, thank you for all the clarification, sir. A lot of people are thanking you for the informative and useful session. And I think we would call upon Dr. Nisar Ahmed to give the vote of thanks.
So before that, let us welcome sir to Civil Department MSRIT whenever he happens to be at Bangalore, so that you can have a fruitful interaction,
Sure,
so
sir.
that your ideas can be implemented at our department to some extent, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Nisar, sir,
Yeah.
can propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah. So as a part of vote of thanks, a very warm good afternoon to everyone attending this webinar. So on behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, MS Rama Institute of Technology, Bangalore, myself, Dr. Nisar Ahmed, would like to thank our speaker, Mr. Yogesh Sharma, for his wonderful, informative, and enlisted the talk on the crime prediction and analysis using GIS technology. I know Mr. Yogesh Sharma from past many years. We have collaborated on many GIS related projects for Middle East clients. So he is a really knowledgeable person. Apart from this, I must also say that Mr. Sharma is running an institute. So the training institute where he conducts the almost on every day the online and also the offline training courses on GIS and its application. It may be on development part, it may be training on GIS part. So for the details, the audience can contact me or he can contact them. So he is most welcome. And as our HOD, Dr. MC has told, definitely we would like to request Sharma ji to